So now I will be showing you guys how to do a little bit of sewing. So for example, the sketch of the blue dress that I made, I actually have it here. Keep in mind that sketches and the finished product aren't always going to look the same. There might be slight differences. Materials you're gonna need a sewing needle, thread that matches the fabric that you got, and then sewing pins. Doesn't matter what size. There is small ones, there is big ones. And then this fabric that I used is a stretchy satin fabric, so it is a little bit harder to work with. The top of the dress, it's fully lined. So to finish the dress, you actually have to do a little bit of hand sewing, sew the whole lining down. And it's a little bit better to do it by hand because there won't be any seams on the outside, and it looks better once it's finished. And the stitch I'm going to be showing you guys how to do is called a whip stitch, which is hidden. You don't really see it unless you like really pay attention to it. So how you do it, you start with the bottom fabric. You kind of just go grab a little bit. And you're going to bring the needle up and pull it all the way through. And then with the top fabric, the actual lining fabric, you're gonna grab a little bit from the very, very edge. And again, bring it all the way up. And you're gonna repeat this, go to the bottom one. And then the top. You don't have to use pins, but it does help out because you won't have to be stopping every once in a while to hold the fabric down, so it kind of does the job for you. And sometimes it does get a little bit harder if the fabrics are thicker. And for example, in this little section, I actually used for the bustier of the dress, to hold it up and give it more support. It does have boning, so it makes the seam a lot thicker. So it makes it harder. You might want to go over that little section a few times, just so it's more secure. And there's a little thread from the actual fabric. And then just kind of go back and forth. Sewing by hand does take a lot more time. And like I mentioned before, it does it looks better once it's finished. Especially on hems, because it's hidden. You don't really see the stitches of the sewing machine. And it also depends on what kind of thing you're sewing by hand, how much time it's going to take. So sorry. And well, I showed you guys how to do a little bit of it. And on this side, I actually already did it. I started it for you guys. This is how it would look once it's done. You don't really see any stitches. And on the front, you don't really see any lines of any seams other than the actual seam connecting the skirt to the bodice. And yeah, that's it.